What's good? What's good? What's good, beautiful people? It's your main man, Big G, and coming at you all the way live. I'm in your space, I'm in your face, and I'm definitely blessed to be here on this wonderful day. It is July 4th, 2026. Sounds like the 4th of July, Independence Day. So, how is everyone doing out here in this wonderful world of living? We are tapped into the Prime Time Network. I am your host, Big G. We are live at 5. You're tuned into Industry Talk, and I appreciate every last one of you for participating, joining us, having a wonderful time. We give everybody an opportunity to get the notification and climb in, lock in with us. And in the meantime, and in between time, I'm going to do my system check and make sure that everything is right, because we do stream over all major platforms. And I don't want anybody to miss a beat. I don't want anybody to say, well, gee, man, I like LinkedIn. I really don't use Facebook, Instagram. But I still want to watch your program. So I want to make sure that you can see us on LinkedIn. I want to make sure you can see us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I want you to miss a beat. So as I go through these system checks, just give me, bear with me, and keep in mind that everything that I'm doing is to make sure that the end user, customer, the consumer is getting the all the way across the board. Looks like we're shaking and baking on all channels. We're crystal and we are clear. And you can hear us just fine. You can hear us just fine. No major talk topic today. It's the 4th of July. I was debating. It's really debating. Should I go on today? Or should I just display a bunch of barbecue, hot dogs, hamburgers, and things of that nature, things of that sort. But I had to remind myself, I ain't doing all that damn cooking. I ain't about to show y'all nothing. Me and my wife, we about to go grab something to eat at a little restaurant, do something like that, enjoy our time. So I don't have to cook or just nothing. Nobody has to do anything except for relax on today. So that's what we're going with it today, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to go where it's going to take us. And if we get there on time, well, guess what? We're late. So we're going to make sure we pull up at that thing 30 to 40 minutes ahead of time, ladies and gentlemen, if not an hour. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the program. Let me check a couple other things here. I had to be reminded. Yes, we are on Twitch and Kick as well. I'm not telling you to go get an account. What I am saying is that you can find us on Twitch and Kick as well. So what I am going to do, ladies and gentlemen, So I'm going to sit there and copy and paste this information and put it into, I'm going to put it into the feed. So if in fact you are interested in finding us where we are, joining us where we are, listening to us from where you are, the links are on the messaging on Facebook. You can go over here to see on Twitch, you can only put one at a time. So Kick is the same way. Kick is the same way. Okay. Alrighty. And if you get an opportunity, I don't like to sit there and, you know, um, boast and brag about shit that we do. Excuse my expletive, but it slips out every once in a while. I'll make sure I monitor it. But make sure you tap in with my sister Bree Melton. She's doing her momager, momager fund campaign to really supply her book to families and potential student athletes at no cost. It's almost like a scholarship type of a program for individuals that are going into that NIL space. And when I say NIL, I mean name, image, and likeness space. That's across the board. If you're in business, if you're a branded business, your name, your image, and your likeness, that's paramount. That's what you hang. That's what you hang your hat on. When you see the golden arches, that's a branded, trademarked logo. You know it belongs to McDonald's, right? Whether it's gone from the single arch to the double arch, whatever the case may be, you know what that logo represents. You know what the Starbucks logo represents. So we're talking about branding. We're talking about uh, name. You're the name, McDonald's, the image, and the likeness. So what do you mean by the likeness? You can't sit there and represent someone with an AI or an artificial identity. Let me just say it like that. I can't take a basketball body that I've created in AI and put a basketball professional face on that and say that that's him. That's his likeness. That's definitely, people do that stuff now. Don't think that they don't. They do it, and they try to sell products, merch, or whatever the case may be, bootleg the system by doing these things. That's why you have to go through the processes of trademarking your brand, trademarking the name, the image, the logo, whatever the case may be. You have to get all your stuff registered. Now, if you go to the USPTO, that's going to cost you about $950, if not more, and any kind of legal fees if in fact you screw up along the way. I'm just telling you, I've gone through the process. Um, but NIL is big, not just in sports, student athletes, whatever the case may be. It's your business. It's your brand identity. It's your likeness. It's your image. And if someone infringes upon that, then you can take the proper steps to rectify the matter. Just handling business the right way. Now, the old way, you go bust a motherfucker across the shit. Did I cuss? My bad. I'm just saying. Because we didn't come up in the era of professional brand identity. We came up in the era of my block, my corner, my space. So if you're infringing upon my grounds, there's going to be a problem. I'm not going to go too deep into that. I'm not going to go too deep into that. But people that know me, yes, I heard that. And my family, they ride me a little bit. I am and was a good kid. I grew up in a great family. I went to an all boys Catholic school, graduated, top of my class, went to college, worked for the government. But, um, you get smart along the way and you figure that you can outsmart the system. And you start doing things that might not necessarily be conventional to the working order of the common man. Let's say you step outside the realms of legality from time to time. I'm not saying, I'm just alleging. I'm just, this is my story, a little bit of my story, but shit happens. Bills got to get paid. Kids are being had. Jalen Wilson even made reference to it, when he was on here, one of the students I used to work with. Because these guys didn't have to pay for anything when they were dealing with us. Nothing. Why? Because it wasn't their responsibility to have to take care of the AAU, shoes, food, feed, none of that. And I didn't have any major sponsors like Nike, Under Armour, any of these guys. But I wanted to make sure that these guys still could go play ball, travel ball, be on the circuit, and get recognized. Yeah. So it had to get paid some kind of way. We're not going to talk about how it got paid, but it did. It did. I don't want to go too deep into that, but it did. Also connected with Elite Heat out of Gulfport. And Ray and I really started working these kids together. And what came out of it was something short of what I would consider miraculous. A bunch of kids getting a whole lot of attention and progressing even present day. We're still going to tell those stories piece by piece. But sometimes, like you say, you make a left turn in the decisions that you make. So in doing so, you learn about a lot of things. You learn about business. You learn about inventory. You learn about the ebb and flow and the logistics of how you're going to get your product from one part of the state to another side of the country. There's a lot of variables that you have to work out. And then you meet a lot of different people. Folks wonder, how you meet. I had told them all, or Melvin Farmer, or Freeway Ricky Ross, or any of these individuals, any of these infamous individuals. Well, when you're dealing with the kind of work that I was dealing with, post-government, well, hey, you run across different individuals. I'll just leave it at that. And obviously I did pretty good business because I'm not dead or in prison. Not patting myself on the back. I'm just saying that the decisions that were made along the way, pretty good ones. Now, I'm not saying I've never had my door kicked in by the motherfucking police. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. No, I didn't say that. I'm not saying that rats weren't a part of the makeup. That's just a part of the game. Just a part of the game. You have to accept that. And you have to accept the fact that whatever you put yourself into, it's not anyone else's fault. I brought that shit on myself. So I don't blame anyone for the mistakes that I made. I just have a clear understanding of what a snitch, a rat, a stool pigeon, a dirty Man, hold up. I'm going in the wrong direction. Wait. I'm going in the wrong direction. Because we were talking about branding, name, image, and likeness. And of course, Bree has her book and her information out right now and she's ready to share. Go to her page, Bree, Bri Melton, Melton. She is the mother of Aaron Estrada, a good friend of my son Tolu. I love Aaron Estrada to death. He's a great basketball player. Um, I do believe Summer League is about to kick off. Vegas will be in full effect. I'm looking forward to seeing him there. If in fact he's going to be out there this summer, making his way back from overseas into either the G League or the NBA. People just don't know the life of professional athletes and the things that they have to go through. At the end of the day, it's contract to contract. And Bree has some steps, success stories in ways that you can make the transition from high school into college, college into finding a great agent. If in fact you don't want to go to New York and take the test yourself, 50 questions. And become an agent yourself. It's possible. And one of the criteria is that you don't have to have a degree. So don't let that blow your mind. Um, but you do have to have the resources, the time, the efforts, the energies. You have to be able to pay the dues. There's a lot to it. Yeah. Yeah. But get in contact with Bree, and she can walk you through all the caveats, the ins and the outs. I just needed to make that information known and push that out there because we're talking about um, branding. We're talking about protecting your brand. We're talking about business, right? And just so happened we have an individual in our collective that is speaking exactly on that for your student athlete. So reach out to Bree. Um, and I'm not going to go too much deeper into uh, the stuff that I was dealing with, but you could only imagine. Use your imagination. Use your imagination. I wasn't really a nice guy. You know, I evolved into becoming a nice guy. Yeah, yeah. hmm hmm I told you, my kids saved my life. If it wouldn't have been for my kids, I would probably be dead or in prison because of the dumb shit I was doing. That's just the truth about it. So as we progress, as we move right along, um, and I say this because I get somewhat of a bad rap. I get a bad rap, but my bad rap comes across as almost a double standard of a bad rap, right? Because I've always been, once I left high school and went to college and I went to the University of the Virgin Islands in St. Thomas, down in the Caribbean. And I made a true connection with a wide assortment of Rastafarians. They really locked in with me, even to the point to whereas I was living in Jamaica, Queens, in New York when I came back from college. One part of my college or that journey that I really don't talk about because there's not really much to talk about. But I was rolling with the Jamaicans in Queens back in the day. And I was really running the New York streets. So when I talk to people about some of the things that I was dealing with there, because there's a big distinction between how you do business in New York and how you do business in the South. If you're not used to back roads and shotgun houses and um, you know, wide open opportunity in the South, and you go to New York and you're dealing with the brick city, high rises and 24-hour traffic. And when I say 24-hour traffic, I mean 24-hour traffic. They used to have things called tops. It's a big difference. Tops, beige tops, pink tops, gray tops, blue tops. New York is just in a plastic bag, you know what I'm saying? Pop it, deliver it. Big difference. I'm telling myself a little bit, but it don't matter. It's in the past. But to sit there in a high rise, which looks like something fantastical, and it's really a ghetto. It's not a brownstone. It's a ghetto, a high rise. It's a ghetto. And I mean 24-hour traffic, nonstop. You don't know who undercover is. You don't know who the snitches are. You don't know. You're not even from there. So you just wide open. You just wide open doing dumb shit. But the learning experience. The learning experience of what you go through in the New York streets in comparison to the Mississippi streets. Extreme. Same problems, same issues, same BS, but two different extremes. If you are not on your P's and Q's in New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, the East Coast, you're going to get chewed up. You're going to get spit out, and you're going to end up in a damn ditch somewhere. Well, they don't have ditches. They got in the sewer. You'll be swimming with the rats. In the South, it's a little bit slower. And it's not so much that it's slower, it's just that you can see it. You can see it. You can, it's not too many that are involved. It's not the decisions you make, smarter and wiser decisions. You're moving solo. You're moving by yourself. You're observing everything around you. Head definitely have to be on the swivel, but at the same time, it's not like moving around New York. So branding, marketing, your image, your name, your image, your likeness. I was making reference to that because, you exerted a lot of force. And over time, that force and that protection of your space, your sanctity, it went without question. From time to time, you may have people that try. And of course, you have to demonstrate in such a way to show folks that, hey, that's not really a smart move. But then you begin to realize that that's just overt stupidity. It worked. Fear worked. Busting the motherfucker across his shit worked. Shooting the motherfucker in his ass works. but it brings a lot of attention. So you have to find smarter ways to move and stay out the way. That's kind of where that came from. You got to learn how to stay out the way because people are always wanting to knock you off your square, knock you out of your position. No matter what it is you do, no matter who you think you are, everyone has an expiration date. And your card can be pulled at any time. I don't give a damn how much of a Billy Badass you think you are. A bullet don't give a damn about you. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And I was never really a, a person in the streets to be or carry on in that way. I was really a lighthearted individual. I was the individual that everyone loved to talk to and see because I had the best shit. I had the best shit. Now, what I was making reference to in terms of the double standard, right? I've always been an advocate of cannabis. Always. I've always been an advocate of cannabis. I had dreadlocks down to my feet. I can show you some of the pictures. You know, I do believe that's what attracted my wife to me because I had really good-looking dreadlocks. You know, and I'm not going bald. I tell you guys all the time, I'm not going bald. I can sit there and cut my hair tomorrow and it'll be back in place in a day or so, growing. No bald spots, none of that kind of stuff. So I can still grow dreadlocks. But at the same time, that was, who I was back then. Really, I think I'm gonna go find one of them pictures, and I'm gonna show you guys. Maybe my wife has one she could post into the feed so you guys can see us. But I've always been an advocate of cannabis. Why? For mental health reasons, and this is before the onslaught of cannabis becoming legalized, the fight for cannabis becoming legalized, right? So when you come home from college and everybody's looking at you, oh man, you ain't nothing but a fucking dope fiend. You're a failure. What? Hold on a second. For some cannabis? For some Mary Jane? But fast forward to today. The same individuals that were chastising and dogging out cannabis are individuals that are dipping their toes into the proverbial smoke, gummy, infused THC, whatever the case may be, because they realize that there are medicinal components to this particular flower. Now, the fact that, and don't sit there and think I'm trying to make this a racist thing or a black and white thing. No, but when white folks said this is bad for you, don't use this, and they already knew the clinical tests that were going on, and they knew the proponents and the components of cannabis, cannabinoids, CBDs, the whole 9 yards. They knew how it helped the human body, the different elements. The reason why, you can go back, you can see the testing right here in the great state of Mississippi, in Oxford, at Ole Miss. They've been testing cannabis for years. This is nothing new. They're one of the only institutions that had the go-ahead to actually sell, produce, grow medicinal cannabis in the country, right here in the great state of Mississippi. But we had so many individuals that were against the product, right? But you don't have an issue with alcohol, which really fucks you up. You don't have an issue with cigarettes, nicotine, which really is a carcinogen and can cause cancer. But for something that could possibly ease your pain, eliminate nausea, create the urge to want to eat after chemo or anything. You mean to tell me that these things that could possibly be an assistance have been deemed something inappropriate or illicit or actually a schedule? I think it was a schedule one or schedule two. I forgot what it was, but they compared cannabis to heroin and cocaine. What a double standard. What a contradiction. But present day, you have individuals like the Speaker of the House, Mr. Boehner, Acorn, already knew what was coming down the pipe, already knew legislation was changing. He smelled it. He knew it. He knew a multi-billion-dollar industry that he can actually participate in, not hands-on, but investing in. He became the chairman. He became one of the board members of Acorn. And now the Speaker of the House, who is the original Orange Man, might I add, becomes one of the biggest drug dealers in research through pharmacology on the planet known to man. Don't take my word for it, ladies and gentlemen. Go look it up. But we still are dealing with nonviolent offenses and individuals who have gone to prison for cannabis that are still sitting in jail today. Still sitting in prison today. Over a weed, ladies and gentlemen. It's a weed. It's a very powerful weed, just like a lot of plants that are out there that we have no idea about the medicinal properties that they contain. We're starting to learn. We're starting to get into the flow of it after the realization that the petroleum companies, one company, wanted to make sure that their petroleum was in every product known to man. From your drugs that are supposed to heal you, to the food that you're eating and the cars that you ride in, you name it, you find it. You find petroleum products in your situation. So tell me, and I'm not looking for, anybody to say, oh man, gee, no, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for why we sit there, and I talked about this the other day, before we have the true results of what's going on, we make decisions, whether it's short-term or long-term, and we hold bias against individuals who may not necessarily walk the same walk that we do. But behind closed doors, and nobody sees you, oh man, you might do God knows what. But at the same time, I've never been one to hold what other individuals do against them. Didn't care. I needed to take care of what I was dealing with. Now, just like anything else, we know if you abuse it, it becomes an addiction, or if you sit there and you can't live without it, or it's ruining your work order or how you go about your day to day and how you do things. That could be anything. I'm addicted to honey buns. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just telling you, I'm addicted to honey buns. So if I want to eat 2 honey buns a day, I got to get in the gym. I got to walk. I got to do all kind of stuff to make sure that them honey buns don't stick to my fat ass. But nobody's talking about the problems that honey buns cause. Type 2 diabetes. I mean, anything that I ingest turns into sugar. We realize that. You guys know how the body processes food. We know this. Everything that you ingest turns into a sugar and is distributed throughout the body. The body pulls whatever nutrients it needs and it processes out whatever you don't. And if your pancreas isn't working, it ain't processing nothing. I am not a doctor, ladies and gentlemen. I've just studied enough cases to know, and I've dealt with enough family members to know. I'm dealing with my own life enough to know that I need to know this shit. And I'm not sitting there trying to hold you guys hostage in terms of conversation. I'm not trying to sway your mindset. I'm just trying to keep you open to understanding that everyone that's on this planet, they got a right to do whatever the hell they want to do, when they want to do it and why. We're so we steady complain, and we talk about the music, we talk about how people move. Now granted, and I talked about this the other day, I'm not, look, they got certain words, buzzwords, community stand. Look, man, I'm not worried about all this shit. Certain things in life we understand that you can't deal with, right? It shouldn't be tolerated, right? We know the rights and the wrongs according to how we were raised. Okay. One of the top of the list is thou shalt not kill. You see how I threw that word up in there? They say you can't say that on this thing. No. You got to say unalived or some bullshit. But this is in the Bible, so I can't say what's in the Bible. Okay. Thou shalt not kill, right? But if you are acting in an aggressive manner towards my family, I'm gonna blow your fucking top off. I'm sorry. I don't get that. And I don't feel any way about it. Maybe that's because of what I've gone through in my life, how I was trained, what I did when I was overseas. I don't know. But if you are acting in an aggressive manner towards my family and I get to drop on you, I am going to drop you. I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to sit there and feel no kind of way, and I will sit there until the police come because I don't have a reason to run. And will explain it very clearly what is taking place. Hopefully all the cameras catch exactly what is taking place so that it'll be a clear understanding as to what and why. That's just an example. But you do understand the double standard. Do I feel a particular way about taking a life? Yes, that's not something that any man or woman wants to do. I wouldn't believe so unless you're psychotic or you're in the state of mind that that's your life. And granted, you do have individuals that have been trained to the point whereas they can't come back. There is no coming back. That's their job. And then when they're released into the wild, back into the general society, general population, which should never happen, by the way. They're no longer sent on missions or black operations, and they're sent home to do what? Go fishing? For 15 to 20 years of their life, they've been pulling black op jobs. What the hell do you think they know? They don't know anything else but that. But you want them to go home and go fishing, be acclimated to regular society. That's impossible. You've programmed them to be this, an operator, a mechanic. And so now you want them to come back and be what? A probation officer? You want them to work on the police force, which is one of the worst places they could be, because now they're looking at their military training and they're totally different from a regular cop going through the police academy. This ain't television. This is real life. This isn't a movie. People wonder why I love being away from everything and everybody and living in solace and peace and nothing around me. If I could be on an island somewhere, I would. I would operate great. Some of the simplest things just keep me excited. Saw my little niece dancing the other day, Nia. Put a big smile on my face. But I think you guys get my point. I think you understand what I'm saying. Thou shalt not steal. But if I'm hungry, nigga, I'm taking that bread. Why do I make that statement? Water is disappearing. It's drying up. Everybody's talking about it, but nobody's making any actions towards resolution. Elon Musk, Gates, a few others, Soros, all of these guys are sitting there buying up waterways, tributaries. Elon's building data centers. The water consumption just to keep these things cool. Your fresh water supplies are being depleted. And we're sitting here not concerned. Our food is being contaminated. And you can go to prison for collecting rainwater or get fined in certain areas. In Las Vegas, you have shut-off times where you can and can't run your water with extreme heat. But you're telling me that I just have to suffer if, in fact, my family is hungry and they need food. I'm just looking at the double standard. I just want to know if I'm jacked, if I'm the only person that thinks about this kind of shit, and if I'm the only person that thinks about it the way that I'm thinking about it. Because yes, no matter how hard you work, lower class, middle class, upper middle class, and even some upper class individuals are struggling. Present day. When you go to the store and you are wanting to buy 2 steaks and they cost you $40, hell, I should just go to the restaurant and have them prepared for me. A gallon of milk, $8 to $10. Fresh vegetables at the market, not even in a Walmart or one of these convenience stores, at the market. Outrageous because of the cost of farming present day. But my kids are hungry. Now, we're not talking about the folks that are still in the Gucci's and the Fendis and the TVs. And no. We're talking about folks that are trying to figure out what to do. And the inroad And the only thing that they see is to hit them a lick. People didn't start selling drugs because they wanted to be flashy, fancy, look good, and all that. No, no, no. That became a trend. It was a means of getting by. Man, let me go hustle this little work, sit there and make a couple dollars so that I can go feed my family and go do X, Y, Z. No, it's just that individuals started taking it to a whole new level. See, back in the day, it was frowned upon to be the dope man. You didn't want that label. You didn't want to be you didn't want to be the dope man. You didn't want nobody to know that you was the dope man. You didn't want anybody to know you was in the street. At least in my era. At least when we were coming up doing dumb shit, right? But it seems present day, people want you to know everything that they do. Everything. It has to be on full display. There is no anonymity to what it is that you do. It's like it's a rite of passage of stupidity and ignorance. I will never be on the train, and regardless of what people may go through, whatever they may say, and I have plenty of friends that have been to prison for all kinds of shit. For murder, attempted murder, dope dealing, robbery, strong arm robbery, you name it, across the spectrum. And plenty of them are still my good friends today. Doesn't change how I feel about them. Jay, the circumstance is what it is. Give you an example, right? Give you an example. My good friend Yasin Shabazz, and I'm using his name because Yasin is a real good friend of mine. Really good friend of mine. He taught me algebra when I was a kid. And that's why I enjoy math. I enjoy math because someone actually took the time to teach me something and it stuck. Math stuck. My mother was an English teacher, history teacher. So, I didn't have any choice there. So when you hear me speak, when you hear how I pull together a collection of words, and I use just rudimentary words, but I can sit there and, I can pull some shit together for you now. But this particular individual, he also went to St. Stanislaus, SSC, down in Bay St. Louis, where I graduated from high school. But Yasin was valedictorian. And I've never heard this before. But it was a dual valedictorian for that year. White guy, black guy. Yasin, of course, should have been the standalone Val, but that's not what they wanted to make happen. And that was some bull. That was some real bull. But at the same time, that's neither here nor there. That's not even my point. My point is this. Yasin ended up with a Knight Ridder Scholarship going to Yale University. You look him up. Yasin Shabazz. Yes, of course, you hear the name Shabazz. He and his family are members of the Nation of Islam. His mother, Miss Shabazz, Shakira Shabazz, passed some time ago. But we're talking about Yasin. We're talking about Yasin's situation, right? Ivy League Bowl, honors, graduated from Yale with honors. Play football for the school. You don't get scholarships to go to Ivy Leagues. Back then. went to the Ivy League Bowl, won the bowl, top honors coming out of Yale University. Started working with the newspaper as a journalist, writer. Um, there's a snag in the road. What was the snag in the road? Well, he had to sit down for 10 years for aggravated assault. He ended up shooting an individual, didn't kill him, wounded him. If he would have shot and killed him, he probably would have gotten less time. So, does that change my mindset of who my friend is? No. Do I pull away from? No. It's the same individual that cared about me. See, I don't hold a double standard. I don't look at people differently. Now, if you do some heinous shit, some pedophilia type shit, yeah, yeah. You ain't even going to hell. I don't even, hell is a good place for you. You see? But Yasin had to sit down for 10 years, got out, and hey man, it's like nothing changed in his life. He was still the same individual. Although he has to wear the fact that this is what he did, that's his to wear. That's his burden to wear. It's not mine to wear, and it's not mine to remind him constantly of what he has done. It's my job to show him that I care about him regardless. He's my friend, regardless. A lot of friends that do some crazy shit. But I still have to sit back and look at him and be like, bro, no matter what you think you've done, you can 10x, 20x, 30x it. You can best believe I've been there, done that. I topped you. So I can't sit there and pretend like he's done something so egregious that he can't come back from that as a man. Yeah. So we're talking about the double standard. We're talking about um, your brand. We're talking about um, marketing, promotions. We're talking about your business, how you handle your business, things that I've gone through in my life. Like I said, today's talk topic is going wherever it's going to go. But me opening up to you guys a little bit about, you know, what I've gone through in my life. And rest assured, um, I don't have to look over my shoulder anymore. It's been so long, right? Since I've been a part of um, the other side of the fence or an element that, people might not necessarily feel comfortable talking about. I didn't look up to um, television gangsters. I didn't. I looked up to individuals that gave me a true representation of how to handle yourself in life. My grandfather, Mitchell Smith. I lived 111. It changed now. 211 South Board Street, Cape May Courthouse, New Jersey. He was a cop, retired cop, probation officer, housing authority, Wildwood. You know, learned a lot. Used to go to Philly, go visit my family that's still there now. My Uncle Joe, he had a brownstone in Philly. It's like a duplex, upstairs, downstairs. You know, you never realized how much these things are worth until you get older and you're like, good Lord, these things are going for $5, $6, $7 million, $8 million, $10 million, depending on the area. But I came up through an era watching my grandfather and my Uncle Joe and my Uncle Jimmy and all these guys who owned bars and were real gangsters. They owned their own business. They held down their own communities. Those were the gangsters that I admired and watched. My Uncle Anthony owned a bar in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi for years. He called it crack. He didn't sell crack. The name of the bar was the Crack, Krack. Bay St. Louis was one of the most productive spots, business wise, when I was growing up as a kid. You had the Italians that had the the quote unquote bodegas or the shops like Batalis and different areas, but along Sycamore Street, Washington Street, where the third ward pretty much kind of intersected and met, you had an entire strip of nothing but nightclubs, from Island Maze to MCM to the Crack to you name it. Everything went down. And of course, the third ward, the Magnolia Projects, sat in the center of all of it. When I grew up, I saw and I only recognized black individuals on the force because that's what I saw. The chief of police in Bay St. Louis was black, Brother Douglas. Chops, Robert Williams, black police officers. Ernest Taylor, black police officers. In a city with nothing but white folks. Brad Dorsey, all these individuals, police folk, they were the force. And they represented the community at a very high level. So we didn't have issues where you had outside individuals policing the community. We had our own police in us. And then things began to gradually change. And then you see individuals that get on that diatribe of, hey, man, you don't need to be no police officer, no fireman. Well, wait a minute. We're taking away our representation because of the onus or the burden we put on black police officers. That's crazy. It's almost like you're saying you want a white overseer. We knew black FBI agents, customs agents. Michael Calvin worked with customs for years. So how other people grew up and how I grew up is totally different. So my view in terms of how I see things, view things, do things, no, you can't match it. And you can best believe whatever you think you've done, the multiplicative, yeah, by 30, 40, 50. It's not me boasting and bragging. I'm just telling you that I am happy that God has given me an opportunity to see it through. And I'm still here to be able to talk about it. So when I talk to youngsters, when I talk to folks that are walking around, these young kids that are walking around with Mac 11s or Desert Eagles or AR 15s, and, you know, they want a sense of of ownership and pride, and I don't give them stupid conversation. Oh man, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. I don't know what's going on in your life, but I know one thing: you're heading towards an early grave. That's where you're heading in this day, because you're not moving with a purpose. You're not moving with intent. You're not moving with a sense of nobility. You're moving because you're scared. You have that peace because you're scared. And I'm not trying to compare back in the day to present day, but is it righteous? Of course it is. If you're scared and this is what you need to protect yourself, well, hey, that's why I leave people alone. Back in the day, hey, we catch a fade, man. Both parties could have guns on them, but hey, man, we gonna catch us. We gonna sit there and catch his fade and go about our way. Ain't no sense in somebody dying today. But I got something I need to get off my motherfucking chest. But it's gotten to the point to where nobody want to take that ass whooping no more. Now think about this. In Jackson, Mississippi, an individual who was protecting their property is going to prison. They're being charged with murder for stopping an assailant from breaking into their shit. So what are you supposed to do? Just sit there, watch them, and say, hey, man, stop breaking into my shit? And get shot? Or like what most people will do in a reactionary type of a sense, in a panic type of a sense, and they have a strap, and they know damn well that, hey, man, that's my property. You're violating my property, my personal property. I'm not trying to shoot you to wound you. I'm trying to shoot you to end you. But I get charged because I'm protecting my property. You see, things are getting kind of crazy in the world today because we're not standing up for what's right, what's righteous. And I'm not about to get into the religious aspects of where things are going or that. No. It ain't got nothing to do with that. Hey, man, you're Buddhist, you're Muslim, you're Catholic, Baptist, Protestant, Jehovah's Witness. Hey, man, more power to you. Whatever you need in your life to make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside about what's going on in the world, hey, that's on you. What you eat don't make me shit. I promise you. So how I view things and how I do things, don't hold it against me. Because at the same time, how you play and how I play might be totally different. I don't fucking play the radio. So don't get it mistaken when it comes down to, man, gee, I was just playing. Well, shit, nigga, I ain't know. You ain't had to bust me across my shit to the white meat. Oh, yes, the hell I did, so that you understand. Don't fucking play with me. You're lucky I didn't take you out your element. Sometimes people forget that. And anyone has the capability of pressing that line. Anyone. My good friend Henry Robinson. A lot of you might remember, if you guys are from Bay St. Louis, past Christian, Henry Robinson. real good friend of mine, ended up shooting his brother on accident. Fight, whatever the case may be, gun goes off, brother ends up dead. Henry had to sit down for some time for some other crimes, but that's the one that always fucks with him. Val was a good kid too. Now Val was bad as motherfucker, but I'm just saying, you know, this is when you coming up during the era of colors. You know what I'm saying? You got colors out in the movie theater, and now everybody's a gangster, like a Crip or a Blood in the South. Although the origins of these collectives come from the South, Chicago, or from different areas of Mississippi, you know, depending on what we're talking about. But, you know, I am a nightmare walking, a psychopath talking. See, when that movie came out, you know, everybody wanted to be a gangster. That's movie gangsters. That's television. Come on, man. When in fact, people in California that grew up in that, they really knew what it was about. They really knew what it was like towing that line and what it really meant to be a part of that. Because the representation of what it was back then isn't what it is right now. You've talked to Melvin Farmer. You've heard my friend Melvin Farmer say, man, we was 14 years old, 15 years old. We didn't know what the hell we was doing. And if we had a decision to make, would we make it again? A bunch of them will tell you, hell no. Because there's a lot of life lost over a color, which is how it was represented, but it was a whole hell of a lot more than that. It was a whole hell of a lot more than just a color in terms of why things happened the way that they did. But a lot of it too was just from stupidity. Just youngsters out there just wilding out, which happens to be going on present day. But what's going on present day is they have more access to firearms, easier access to semi-automatic and automatic weapons. But you got the right to bear arms, right, ladies and gentlemen? We do, and I am not an individual that will go against my right to bear arms. I'm sorry. I'm not a pacifist. Y'all ain't know I knew that big word, did you? No, I'm not. And I don't ever remember Jesus saying, turn the other cheek. Y'all show me that. I'm not saying what was written in a book. I'm saying where Jesus was told to turn the other cheek. If you can point to it in the Bible, in the scriptures, if you can sit there and show me where that was the line, somebody's coming up against you and somebody trying to do something to you. Oh, no. Hell no. Turn shit. You have a miserable day. It's going to be Taco Tuesday on a Friday. Come on now. Let's be realistic about how we've created this fantastical illusion of a diaspora that we want. This is the life or the American dream that we pretend that we want when we lose track of real life. So let's get back to some real life shit, right? Before I get out of here, because I've been talking and yipping and yapping. Real life stuff. Things that help and assist with change. I want to say on the 8th or the 9th. I think it's the 9th. Yes, it's definitely the 9th. I remember the date. It's the 9th. July 9th. Reset and Elevate. We'll be tuned in with Emily Mitchell and Kiara Smith. They will be here talking about mental health awareness. July 9th is my anniversary. My wife and I have been married since 1999. July 9th, 2026 will be our day. Barbershop Talk with Pastor Lamont Mitchell. Inside Speaks every day, 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, and the reboots at 11, between 11 and 11:30. I'm still working out the fine details of that because I want you guys to get all of the shows, the past episodes. We're going to start interchanging all of those past episodes on the 11 o'clock reboot time. Industry Talk, live at 5 Central Standard Time every day. In the Heat of the Night with Jarrell Braswell and I. And Terry Cherry and Jarrell will be starting their own shows as well. So be on the lookout for everything that we're doing to help shape and move community. Bree Milton will also be talking about creating her show. So that's going to be coming as well. She says that she's game, she's down for it. So I'm looking forward to that also. But outside of that, man, like I said, it wasn't a whole bunch of conversations that I had. Made a bunch of different points, gave you a little bit of insight about myself, who I am, what I've gone through, branding, marketing, NIL. Actually, talked about a whole bunch of nothing for an hour today. But if it will give you a little bit of an insight in terms of who I am and why I move the way that I do and why, regardless of what goes on in my life, I am happy. I'm happy. You know, not happy as in happy-go-lucky. No, I enjoy life so much that I don't have time for misery. Jonathan Shaw on Inside Speaks was talking about, the upset factor, so to speak, and staying in good line with what you have going on in your life to stay out of misery, stay away from misery. It's true to form. It was a great 10 o'clock session this morning. Great 10 o'clock session. Make sure y'all lock in one man. Jay Shaw, Inside Speaks. Subscribe to all of our platforms here on the Primetime Network, and give you a couple of party favors on the way out the door. Big shout out to my man ECEO and the official Miss Jamaica.
It's about that time we decided we were going to do something a little bit different today, add some different elements to what we already do. It's going down there, trying to figure out ways to break the algorithm. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe to all our channels, all our different platforms. Boss Talk 101, Boss Talk 101 Prime Time. It's crazy. We got to get it done, though. Boss Talk 101, where the boss is talking.
Hey, what it do, world? It's your boy, Comedian JB, the real Jay Braswell, Comedian Jay Braswell. Hey, dig this. I got a website, man. Tap in at jbcomedy.com.
Stop what you're doing right now and go subscribe to Boss Talk Podcast 101 Primetime on YouTube, all social media platforms. Boss Talk Podcast 101 Primetime. Like, share, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to make sure you tap in. right now, over 72,000 subscribers and well over 11 million views and watch time hours. So make sure that you continue to support, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, and keep tapping in with us, because we're going to keep on bringing you this hot content every day and in every way. It's your main man, Big G. And make sure, like I said, stop what you're doing right now and tap in. Like, share, subscribe. Boss Talk Podcast 101 Prime Time. Today's conversation on Industry Talk is being brought to you by our platinum sponsor, Tisha's Signature House Blend Season All. When you're preparing yourself something to eat, be sure to season your meats with Tisha's Signature House Blend Season All. Today's episode of Industry Talk is proudly sponsored by the Butterfly Collection. That's right, the Butterfly Collection is here. Gentle stories, big lessons, bright imaginations. Books are available at Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, Ingram Spark by author Angel Williams. These books are perfect for pre-K programs, kindergarten classrooms, elementary schools, classroom libraries, bedtime reading, and SEL programs. Be sure to get your copy today. Be sure to get your copy today. Huh? Be sure to get your copies today. Don't just talk about it, we be about it. Don't just talk about it, you got to be about it.
I'm Paul.
I'm Chad.
I'm Paul from Patriot Business Finance Consultants. I'm just trying to get the best financing package arranged for our clients. We will fight for you. 844-742-1776. Call us. Check out our website, www.patriotbfc.com.
No, this is not a dream. You're in the world of Inside Speaks. We're inspiring you to find happiness in your world. Guess what? We outside with it. We like to hammock camp, bike, as well as ruck. That's right. I'm an Army veteran. I served 2 tours, man, with some great individuals, man. We had our ups, we had our downs, just like you go through in life. But I tell you what, I'm going to share some of them stories with you on this channel.
And he definitely shares some stories. Jay Shaw got some shit on him, man. Jaden been through some shit. So if y'all want to get some insight about an individual that is, how can I say it? Just like JB, just like Jarrell, Jarrell's in the Marine Corps. Individuals that have seen the theater of war, seen loss of life, and have had to come back home and deal with this shit that we put our service members through, and we don't even realize what we're doing as a society, right? That mental health battle is real. So Jonathan Shaw, Inside Speaks, he's giving you a part of him that I recognize. It's so special, and I was surprised when he agreed to come on board and be a part of doing this thing full time, because he's just doing stuff to get shit off his chest and to express and to give folks insight. You know what I'm saying? He tell folks all the time, man, I ain't doing this shit for y'all. I'm doing this shit for me. This is my side. This is my piece. This is what I can sit there. Instead of me snapping, going off the deep end, I can give you a part of me and I can release this. I still got to go working. I still got to go walking. I still got to go do that extra, but at least I can give you a verbal testimony and get some things off my chest and debate it and talk about it. We're still working on the roundtable discussion, but these are some things that, Shaw says, hey man, I'm going through it. This might help you. It might. I don't give a damn if it does or don't, but it's helping me. So when I recognized that, man, and saw that Shaw wasn't playing with this, those are the kind of people you want to be around, man. Those are the kind of people that you want to do business with. Those are the kind of people that you want to form relationships with. He said, hey, man, we're going to pull up on you in Mississippi. That nigga pulled up. Him and the crew. Triple P, his wife, Semi Quest, Jay Shaw. It's like, yeah, man. Totally respect. You know. And so when you have that dynamic of individuals that are there, you know that they're going to always be consistent because they're not doing it for you. They're doing it for them. So the only thing we can do is add to. What we need to do to add to? How can we add to your greatness? How can we be a part of what you got going on? All I can say is thank you for allowing me to be a part of your family's life, because they don't have to do that. Him, Angel, Taylor, Tanner, baby girl, none of them. So that's very appreciative. It's very appreciative. And so in turn, you got to go just as hard, if not harder, to show folks that you're serious about what you're doing. And the collective is going to be solid because you're all working towards making it work. Like Jarrell Braswell jumped on board. He said he let me know what it is that he was trying to get accomplished, what he wanted to do. Hey man, we plotted out the course, and we've been on the mission ever since. Some things about to start happening, man. Y'all not even gonna be able to recognize us here pretty soon. You will not be able to recognize us here pretty soon. I'm not going to sit there and talk about it too much. I'm just going to let it be known. You will not be able to recognize us pretty soon. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, hey, I appreciate you for participating. It's been another great episode of Industry Talk here on the Prime Time Network. Make sure you go like, share, and subscribe to all of our affiliates, all of our partners, all of our friends. And get to know them. You get to know them. You get to know who they are, what they're doing, why they're doing what they're doing. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, y'all know with me, it's always about health, wealth, wellness. Stay dangerous.